Okay, so we are about to head out to apparently one of the most convincing alien sightings in history. And I'm actually completely on board with this, and I think it's a legitimate case. What do you think?
I think it's very convincing of all the ones I've heard.
So we're all on board with this being a real UFO sighting. So we're going to go to the trail and see what Annie, Lee, and see what all of us think when we actually visit the location.
Dachman's Law is a hill and wooded area located near Livingston in Scotland. But this hill is the home of arguably one of the most compelling UFO sightings in history. So compelling, in fact, that this was the only UFO sighting that required a full police investigation. On November the 9th, 1979, 60-year-old forestry worker Robert Taylor arrived home, but looked in complete shambles. His clothes were torn, he was covered in mud, had grazes on his chin and thighs, and was extremely delirious. Initially, his wife believed that he had been mugged, but once Taylor had become more present-minded, he told his amazing story.
Are you all ready to see aliens? I'm not letting this go. Aliens are real. This is real.
Oh yeah.
You're like Jimmy who believes in
I
this.
just don't know if this was.
I'm the believer of the group today. It feels very weird.
I went unbelievable. I'm not a believer in this instance. There's too many weird things.
Well, when your trousers get wrecked by an alien, you'll feel sorry.
And you gotta drive us home.
Driving up naked.
Our car won't start. His truck stopped working. And this goes into the wooded area where apparently this all took place. But there is no apparent because it happened.
Yeah.
Taylor claimed to have parked his pickup truck by the side of the motorway before walking his dog up a path beside Dachman Law.
This morning I was doing my usual work at Dachman Hill. I walked down through the wood. Eventually we come to a clearing. I just couldn't believe what was in front of me when I turned the corner into this clearing.
He then claimed to have seen a flying, circular sphere or dome around 6.4 meters in diameter, hovering over the first floor in a clearing around 480 meters from his truck. He said that it looked to have been made from a dark metallic material with a rough texture like sandpaper, with an outer rim set with small propellers. He also stated there was a foul odour in the air resembling burning brakes, and that there were smaller spheres similar to sea mines that appeared and actually grabbed him and began dragging him towards the massive dome, with spikes hooking onto his trousers. He began to smell a strong acid scent, which is when he passed out. He claimed to have woken up around 20 minutes later to see the domes gone and he was alone with his dog. He was unable to speak and his legs were in a great deal of pain. He rushed off to his truck to try to radio for help, but was unable to speak. His truck wouldn't start and he ended up walking back home. The police soon arrived to take Taylor's statement and he took them to the location where this incident supposedly took place.
I went to see Bob on the Sunday at his home. I could see he was still a bit shaken by his experience. But I asked him, "What can you tell me about this stupidity?" And I got a straightforward reply. He says, "I might think it was stupid, but something certainly happened up there." And I believed him, because all I was looking for was a reaction. I believe what he told me was quite true. During the interview, I was quite taken with him. He wasn't trying to enhance the situation.
Oh, this is it, yeah.
Oh, is this the
This is the site referred to in Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, which describes an encounter between a forestry worker out walking and what happened to him as an unidentified flying object.
Taylor never deviated from his story, nor did he seek fame or significant publicity.
I don't get how anything would land here. So I'm guessing it hovered here. Or maybe it hovered above the trees.
Oh, were these trees not here at this point?
It said it hovered around 480 meters from his truck.
So I guess it could have hovered above the trees.
And obviously the marks aren't here anymore.
The aliens got a bit drunk. That's fine.
There were definitive markings on the ground where he claimed the objects were. They resembled ladder-shaped marks, and there were other markings which he claimed to have been from the smaller objects. The police did conclude that the markings didn't match any known vehicle, though some believed the smaller markings could have been made by caterpillar tracks used on bulldozers, but this was later ruled out.
Bob himself was over there by that big tree. The indentations in the ground, there was one down here and the other down here. The marks on the ground from the two spheres, the two mine-like spheres that actually attacked him, ran from behind here, behind these marks, and swung around both sides of the tracks and grabbed Bob over there, pulling him forward towards the machine here. I searched this area looking for something that might have picked this machine up, but there was nothing else out there, nowhere for it to go. There were no reversing away and there was no tracks driving away. The only way this machine that was sitting here, must have been of something like a couple of tons, could leave here was to go up through there.
We're going to try to find the markings, but I'm guessing they're long gone because if it was in grass, it's 43 years ago.
There were no signs of any vehicle reaching or leaving the area. These marks just arrived. They did not come from anywhere or go anywhere. They just arrived as though a helicopter or something had landed from the sky. These marks indicated an object of several tons had stood there, but there was nothing to show that it had been driven or towed away. Furthermore, they analysed his clothing and proved that they were ripped upwards with force from some kind of mechanical device. The police still recorded this as a criminal assault. This naturally caused a huge interest from UFOologists, and many believe this to be one of the few genuine cases of a real UFO encounter, and one of the most compelling in history. However, that doesn't mean that there weren't other theories out there. That same year, UFO skeptic Steuart Campbell visited the location and noticed some PVC pipes in a nearby field. The local water authority had laid a cable duct within 100 meters of the area, and he believed that a stack of pipes could have been stored there and therefore caused the markings in the ground. Founder of the Edinburgh University UFO Research Society, Patricia Hannaford, who is also a qualified physician, claimed that Robert Taylor could have just simply collapsed from a temporal lobe epilepsy, and what he saw was merely a hallucination. Taylor did previously suffer from meningitis, which could explain the strong smell, headache, dry throat and collapse. Others have also backed up this theory to have been the most probable explanation, though it still doesn't explain the markings found on the ground or the tears from his trousers. Businessman Phil Fenton suggested that he may have had a mini stroke as he was exposed to some harmful chemicals which left him confused and disoriented. He also believes that the UFO he thought he saw could have been a saucer-shaped water tower that was near the area at the time. However, author Malcolm Robinson isn't too quick to rule out the possibility of this incident being a genuine case of an alien encounter. Robert Taylor was not mentally ill in any way, and people wrongly labelled him as someone who had hallucinated the entire event. However, there are many people who have wrongly been put in psychiatric wards for saying similar things about UFOs, whether they are mentally ill or not, and they've been dismissed out of hand or been stigmatised as a result of it. I believe the event could be real, only because of the evidence gathered by the forensics. There were indentations and marks in the soil where the object had to weigh more than several metric tons to make the compressions. The tears in Bob's clothes were not caused by a snag or by burning. The clothing was pierced forcibly. There is no evidence to prove the thing was a hallucination, and there was no track marks going from and to a place from where the landing marks in the soil was found. Also, some of the theories offered to disprove the UFO story are more unbelievable and unprovable than the simple fact that we might have had visitors from outer space here. It might scare people if the government was to suddenly say it was true, which is maybe why the subject about the UFO incident in Deckman remains unsolved.
We're actually at the location where Robert Taylor claimed to have had an extraterrestrial experience 43 years ago. I'm convinced. Are you?
I'm open to this sort of story, definitely.
Did it happen?
Because there's a lack
He's
of
dodging the
details,
question.
but for me that makes it a bit more
You're
believable.
dodging the question.
Did it happen? I am 70% yes.
What about you two? Go on, poop on our parade.
No, I believe that he saw what he said he saw. I just don't think it really was aliens. I think it was an hallucination, definitely.
So, explain the markings.
Trees falling, anything.
Explain the trousers.
But that's the thing, I think if he had have seen it, the dog would have been traumatised afterwards.
Yeah, the thing said he tried to radio for help, but he was too traumatised to talk. So he wasn't able to talk till he got home to his wife.
Not him, no, the dog.
Yeah, that's true. The dog would have run for help.
What's
Yeah.
info about the dog?
I feel like
Yeah.
the dog would have done something. And
Definitely,
like,
yeah.
the trousers
Ran
like, you
home
can-
or something.
What if the dog passed out as well?
Yeah, that's a bit of information.
Haha!
That's true, yeah.
I don't
If
know.
the story was reported that the dog fell asleep too and then woke up.
Well, how would he know?
Weirder.
He wouldn't know if the dog fell asleep as well.
Well,
The dog would have just thought, oh, I've had a nap and been none the wiser.
Yeah, it's highly
Maybe he
possible.
woke up before the dog.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
highly
see?
possible it's fabricated, but it's a good
But
fabrication.
I hear no explanation for the trousers, so
The trousers is the hardest thing.
I'm taking the...
Everything was snagging me. in
Everything
there,
is snagging.
so
Like,
if something hard enough got his
But it pulled upwards. It was ripped upwards by some mechanical device.
things, it does really.
Yeah,
But no, I think it was ripped by, you know where you put your belt?
Oh, okay.
Upwards with like, a lot of force.
but what if he like, there's a hill there, if he walked up there while he was having his moment and then fell down, that would be pulling upwards if you're sliding down.
I'm taking the W on this one. Aliens or no aliens?
I've heard it.
I win.
Many maintain Robert Taylor's story. After all, he never went to the press with his claims, nor did he seek publicity anywhere else. He only ever did small interviews.
I know they attacked me, but I don't believe they were there to do me any harm, you know.
Before all this happened, I wasn't really a believer. But now, I have to think, are we the only planet with intelligent beings on it? There must be something else out there.
I know what I saw, and I believe what I saw.
He passed away in 2007 at the age of 88, maintaining his story to have been the truth, and he never once deviated from his initial claim. So whether or not this was a hallucination, a twisting of the truth, a psychological episode or a health issue, or a genuine case of an extraterrestrial attack, that is all for us to decide as we continue seeking answers.